Wellahealth Technology is a Nigerian health tech startup providing affordable health micro-insurance for common conditions across Africa. He is also an internal medicine physician, having acquired a Bachelor's of Medicine and Surgery degree from the Trinity College, Dublin, in Ireland. His expertise and capacity in working at the nexus of health tech and fintech for emerging markets has led to the notable recognition and awards for Wellahealth Technologies. Many thanks for joining us on Business Insights, Dr. Ikpeme.
Thank you so much. It's a huge pleasure to be here.
Yes, it is our pleasure. Let's talk about the NHIA Act as it is right now. A whole lot of people, have described it as a welcome development. We used to have the NSITF before now, but it's been replaced with the NHIA. Would you really say it has brought some sort of succor and goodwill for Nigerian workers?
Absolutely. So the advent of the new NHIA, which replaces the NHIS, so the scheme has been replaced for an authority, means now that generally we have better access to great health insurance options. Prior to now, there wasn't really mandated health insurance across the board, but with this new act, it means that every Nigerian must have health insurance. The other advantage is that we're now able to get plans from state health insurance schemes that gives us better access at really affordable rates.
All right, it's a good thing that the federal government has actually made it mandatory for all Nigerian workers to actually be placed on some sort of insurance platform, so that would, as much as possible, reduce out of payment, out of pockets payment when it comes to providing healthcare in Nigeria. But then again, I would want to start by this way. We're talking about health insurance for businesses. Most employers might see it as an additional cost. Like for instance, I just have a small business and I have a capacity of about 10 workers working for me. Why should I even be choosing or getting health insurance for my employees?
Yeah, that's a great question. So beyond the fact that it is mandated by the Act, there are actual productivity benefits for employers that provide healthcare packages for their staff. Imagine if you've got employees that are unwell and they have to worry about running from hospital to hospital, worry about the cost. In many instances, actually, companies have to borrow their staff or give them advances of their salaries just so their staff can cater for those healthcare expenditures that are not planned for. And so, in actual fact, it is not a cost, it is an investment in improving the productivity of the staff when companies provide healthcare benefits for their employees. So it's actually a win-win. The staff is happier, the company gets more productivity, and of course the government is able to ensure that everybody that is working has access to healthcare. So it's a win-win for all.
Okay, let me just take it one step further and try to understand the NHIA, what it actually stipulates and entails. Does the Act have stipulated or different categories of maybe provisions for maybe small businesses, for maybe MNCs, or just how does it really work?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So the NHIA is currently the guidelines for its operationalization are actually being drawn up. So some specifics are not yet clear. But what we do know is that if you have staff of, I think it's around 5 people at least, you do have to provide them with a health plan. Now, each state has a state health insurance scheme, and each state will publish, the cost for those schemes and the benefit package. Several states already have them. If you're in Lagos, there is a Lagos State Health Plan. If you're in Abuja, the FCT has a health plan as well. Those plans are actually not that expensive. You can get a plan for a single individual for somewhere around 20 to 25,000 naira. There's other HMO plans as well that are actually fairly affordable. Ourselves at Wellahealth, we sell health plans that start at just 600 to 700 naira a month. So it's not as exorbitant as people like to think it is. It is very affordable. And once you sign on for them, the companies are able to onboard you and provide you with a benefit that is commensurate with the amount that you pay.
All right, well said, Dr. Ikpeme. I'll still stay on the small business that has just about 5 to 10 employees, in their employ. But what do they really need to know? This NHIA fine, we've established that, for instance, the company, the business is so small, they don't really have like an organized structure, they don't have like a human resources department. And what would you say, or what would you advise them to do? What is the step-by-step approach? I mean, they want to do what the law says, but they're not well structured. What should they be looking at, really?
Yeah, so again, good question. It's important, of course, as a small business, you do meet the requirements, that the law has, that you're duly registered, you're paying your taxes, those types of, basic requirements. I think it's important because it means that, of course, you can also draw on benefits from the government. Now, when you have those things, done, the next thing from a health insurance point of view would be, one, you could approach your state health insurance scheme. It's easy to find it, so just go online and, search for your state and put health insurance scheme. Lots of states have them now. If you are not able to do that, you can reach out to any health maintenance organization. They can provide you with a plan, or they can actually also, connect you with your state health insurance scheme. And if all that isn't successful, you can reach out to the actual, authority, the NHIA. They have a website, they have phone numbers, and they've got state offices who can connect you directly to, either health maintenance organizations or the state health insurance scheme. You can reach out to private entities like ourselves who manage healthcare plans on behalf of states and HMOs online, via the web, via voice, etc. So there's a lot of opportunities that businesses can reach out to find out about these plans and sign up.
All right, so just how affordable, let's talk about financial and cost implication of all of this. It looks also laudable and very, juicy, as it were. But how affordable is it, and what are the cost implications on the businesses? So as much as they want their staff to be well motivated and to be sure that their health is being taken care of, how do they ensure that at least they're still meeting their bottom line and they're not actually running at a loss, so to speak?
Absolutely. And that conversation about cost cannot be had outside of the benefits. And so if we look at just what you spend on the healthcare plans or the health insurance schemes alone, one might seem or might feel discouraged. But if you look at it holistically and look at the productivity gains, look at the benefits, look at your staff satisfaction, when you look at those things, you realize actually it's a small price to pay. That if you were to give that extra healthcare payments directly to your staff, you will not get the same type of satisfaction if you use it instead of a healthcare benefit. Now, having said that, from a cost point of view, plans start at just around 700 naira a month. Plans like ours provide you basic access for.
Did you say 700 naira? Just how much did you say?
Yes, you can start from around 700 naira a month for a basic plan, and this extends up to more extensive plans that can go up to say hundreds of thousands of naira.
Okay, so Dr. Igume, let me just take it just step by step. When you say 700 naira plan, is it per employee or just at the ceiling of all together?
Yeah, so per employee per month, it can start around that. So, like I said, there are a variety of options, a variety of choices. It behoves the business owners and managers to investigate what the options are and look at what their budget can take and realize that actually there are plans that are very budget friendly and affordable.
Okay, fine. In this discussion in passing, you mentioned the health maintenance organization, the HMOs. So we've talked about the cost implication. We've talked about the benefits to employees. Now we want to take it one step further as a business. How do you choose the right HMO services for your business? Because there are an array of them spread across Nigeria. And how would you, as a business, ensure that the right HMO is what you are going for?
Absolutely. Again, great question, and a lot of people approach us with this question. I would say to consider three factors. One is the price. Are they offering plans at the price points that you can afford and that you like? Second is the benefits. For the price points that you're comfortable with, is the benefit package what you would like and what your staff would want to key into? And then thirdly is the quality of the service. So when you're being sold to, when you experience the service, how do you feel, how are you taken? So a combination of these three really can help you to then decide what is the best option. And remember that if you don't like a service, you can actually switch because of the competition in the market and the many providers that are out there. You can test, and if you're not happy, you can switch after some time. So I would say to people, be comfortable and confident with shopping around and ensuring that you stick with a service that you can afford, that has the right benefit package, and that you actually enjoy using.
I still want to stay with the health maintenance organization, and because I don't know how proven if it's been proven really, because most times we hear that drugs from HMOs or health insurance packages are usually substandard, they're not actually qualitative. How true is this?
So that is not true at all. I will say that straight. It isn't true at all. So we work with a lot of health maintenance organizations to manage their drug benefit schemes. And I can tell you that we go through a process of vetting and ensuring that the medications that are given in those schemes are the right medications. Now, there is a thing in the pharmaceutical space where you have two types of medications. You have what are called branded medications and you have what are called generic medications. So sometimes people misunderstand that branded medications, which are usually more expensive, are medications that are made by usually foreign pharmaceutical organizations that are imported in. Sometimes people feel like those are more efficacious and more effective, whereas there are generic medications. These are medications that are made locally by reputable organizations that have been qualified and certified by NAFDAC. They do provide the same type of benefit. Now the price point might be different, the branding might be different, but they actually are just as efficacious. So sometimes people can misunderstand that this difference is related to quality. It actually isn't. It's because of the source of the medication and the companies that make them. They are underlying, beneath all of that, the same medication, and NAFDAC would not approve it if it isn't.
All right, it's still Business Insight on Plus TV Africa. We still have Dr. Nito Ikpeme with us talking about the NHIA and, of course, what businesses need to know. We'll take a very quick break and we'll be right back with more. To join us again.
How can we have peace without justice?
Plus politics. It's not just another political conversation, it's about keeping you in the know. The relevant interviews, asking the tough questions to those that matter. Get the answers you need. Does it mean that the people who were injured, people who were shot at, those who were involved in that stampede are not going to get justice?
It is unfortunate, it is sad that we have a government of deaf and dumb.
Analysis from top experts.
The last election was not really an election.
We feel that Obasanjo has a very special place in his heart for hating Ijaw people.
I think it really boils down to two things. One, trust and accountability.
Plus Politics, every weeknight at 7 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
Welcome back to Business Insight and Plus TV Africa. Dr. Nito Ikpeme is our guest. We're looking at health insurance scheme and, of course, how businesses, small, medium, and, of course, large ones can benefit from the NHIA. Thanks for staying with us, Dr. Ikpeme. Good thing you've clarified, the air concerning the issue of substandard product or drugs, which most people, attribute to being on HMOs. But then again, there are also other complaints. Sometimes members of staff say that the packages that they are placed under cannot actually cover the bulk of their needs or their main needs, as it were. Some, because of the situations that we have in the country, young people are actually hypertensive lately, and some people are actually diabetic. But when you go to some of these hospitals, they tell you that your HMO plan does not cover drugs for, high blood pressure and all of that. How do we reconcile all of this?
Yeah, that's true, and that is a concern. And so remember when I spoke about the things to look at when you're picking a plan, those are some of the things to consider. So when you look at the price, the next is the benefit package. Now, usually if you've gone with something really affordable, at a low price, the benefit package usually isn't that much. And so what you really want to start out with is ask yourself, what are the benefits that I want? Whether it's for an individual or a company, what are the benefits we want? And when you decide those benefits, you can then go shop around with the HMOs and see what is the best price you can get for those benefits. Now, if you want, hypertension cover, diabetes cover, those plans are out there. You just have to, pay the premium for those plans. The challenge, I think, is that mismatch between people selecting plans that do not include the benefits that they want. And of course, when they arrive at the clinic or the hospital, the hospital cannot provide you with a benefit that you haven't selected or paid for. So I think the advice here is to be careful in the types of plans you're selecting to ensure that they have the benefit that you do want. If you want maternity, if you want, diabetes, if you want hypertension care, then ensure that you select that in the plan at the start.
Okay, so what would you really advise for small businesses? Sorry, I'm staying on small businesses because we try to encourage startups a whole lot on this show. What kind of plans, what kind of package should they be looking at? Because most times employees might want their next of kin or their family members to be covered in their insurance plan. So what do you really suggest? What advice can you give, really?
Yeah, so I'd say it depends on your budget, of course. As a small business, budget is tight. So look at what is in your budget. And then that might be the guide that you will need then to go figure out what benefits you want based on that budget. Now, you might want to start with just the existing staff that you have. If you add on next of kin or family members, that might be a bit more expensive. So maybe start with the people that you have employed with a basic plan, if that's what you can afford, and then see how that does. If you're doing quite well, you have high satisfaction, you have a bit more room, then the next time you go to renew, you can actually increase it. I think that there is scope to start small and kind of go up as you get better, you get more profitable, and you get more experience and understanding of the plans. Also, as you build a relationship with an HMO, there is more room there to negotiate certain things. So if you start off with say 10 employees, maybe you can expand to 50 employees. And if you have a good record with the HMO, they're usually open and happy to negotiate some certain prices, costs, and benefits. So what I would say is, look at your budget, start low, and then go up slowly over time as you grow and progress. But don't put it off because it is now mandated and there is a lot of gains to be made from providing health benefits to your employees.
All right. Before we go, I have just about two more questions, to ask you, Dr. Ikpeme. We looked at the demand side right now since we started this conversation. Let's talk about the supply side. That's the HMOs themselves. What would you say? How are they really thriving? Are they challenged by issues in the sector, or what exactly is going on with them when we talk about healthcare development in Nigeria?
Yes, so with the HMO sector, there's a lot of changes and improvements going on. The NHIA Act only just got passed recently, and that is still being, the guidelines for that is still being figured out and, deliberated on and operationalized. So there's a lot of, changes, a lot of flux happening. And it's clear that the industry is coming of age, it's growing. And we have a lot of really, really great companies that are innovating and doing excellent things around technology, quality of care, and more. And I'm very confident on what the sector can do, especially the new act, to cover more people, to provide even better services, and actually to provide services that are really affordable. As the net increases, so as the more people come in to pay for insurance, what happens actually is the cost goes down. The challenge at the moment is the insurance companies, the HMOs, don't have a big enough pool, and so they can sometimes struggle to really negotiate the best types of prices. But if you imagine there's 50% of the population going via the insurance, the HMOs, then they can actually use that economies of scale, use that negotiating power to improve the cost of care across the board for everybody. Because currently 70% of us are paying out of pocket. That's over $7 billion every year. If we could organize that better, there's a lot of efficiencies to be had.
All right, on a final note now, Dr. Ikpeme, let's just get your candid opinion concerning the NHIA. I know it is relatively new, but would you really say that there are loopholes or lacunae that should be really looked into?
I think as with everything, the proof of the pudding is in eating. We are in the process of actually operationalizing this new act, and I'm really confident we have the right mix in place. We have the right will, we have the right people as well. And so I'm really optimistic that as we start to put this into practice and implement it, that things will go well. Now, there are always challenges, especially at the early days, but that's natural enough. I think that a lot of us in the industry are really keen to see health insurance uptake improve, and I also know that Nigerians are now more interested in their healthcare. The recent pandemic has taught us that without healthcare we have nothing, and so I think we're really in a good place broadly, and as we implement in the right way, learn and improve, we're really going to go to great places. I predict that in the next 5 to 10 years we'll have about 50% of the population covered, which will be quite phenomenal if we can get there.
Many thanks, Dr. Neto Ikpeme. Thanks for sharing all of these useful insights and thoughts with us on Business Insights.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
It is indeed a pleasure. Dr. Neto Ikpeme is founder of Wellahealth Technology, and he manages a health tech startup. I'll leave you with